What's up, YouTube? Thanks for joining me in over your lunch break. I figured we would just take maybe these next 30 minutes about to basically build out a lander in Webflow. So I'm sort of working on this hero section design that I'm going to use in an upcoming tutorial. And I figured I would just take this time to really show you how I start a project from the start to finish using the new Wizardry method that I just released. So we'll just sort of go through this project and see what happens. So yeah, this is kind of the lander or the hero section that I'll be building out. And I have the design pretty much ready, and I need to start by setting up this project. So I just have a blank project here. What we're going to do is go to the body all pages tag and set the font size to 1 viewport width on the body. So that'll just set that there. Then we can set the body background color to sort of this off gray color that I'll be using throughout the site. And then we can set the font color to this black, sort of this black color here. And that should sort of set the foundation there. Now we'll also want to set the sort of the font we're going to use for the whole site, which I believe is this font here. And I'll just leave the weight at normal. Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. All right, so we're getting started. So we have this basic setup. The next thing that I like to do is drag in a div and basically set the class to overflow. And I learned recently this has to be position relative if you're going to absolutely position elements alongside of it that you want not to cause scroll. So just overflow hidden doesn't necessarily work unless this position is relative in some cases. So then I'll set the width to 100%. And we have sort of this overflow container. So our next thing to do is sort of add in our different sections. So I'm just going to drag a div inside this overflow, call it section. And basically we want to go ahead and tag that with a tag of section so we know what that is. And then we'll set up our container. I haven't decided what I want the max width to be just yet on this container. Let me go ahead and give it a class of container. And let's set the width to 100%. And the max width for now, I'll just set to 1920 pixels. And we'll use margin auto left and right. And we'll figure out what the padding needs to be in a second, but I'll just add all that padding in. So this is the basic structure. You know, we set the body font size to 1 viewport width. We set sort of the font and the background color we want to use across the whole site. We have this overflow div that's going to hold all our sections. We have our section and then our container. And then the next thing that I like to do is have sort of something like this global catch-all. And sometimes I just give this a class of global. And then from there, I really just want to, this will sort of store like everything, all of my, like my nav bar, any custom code, any of those global elements I want on every page. So I'll usually just start by maybe giving that a position of absolute to the top. And then from there, I can drag in sort of my next section, which will be my nav. So I'll just give this a class of section. And this one I want to tag with nav, which is right here. And then I need to also have a container inside of that one as well. And let's see, then I'll have my embed element that's sort of like my custom CSS for the whole page that goes inside my global container. So we'll just put some style tags in here for now. And that will be sort of hold all our custom code we plan to use. And let's go ahead and just give this class of CSS. No height is being taken up on that whatsoever. And then for this section, since it holds my nav, I'll give it a combo class of isNav and maybe set its position to fixed to the top like this and give it a really high Z index so that way we know it's on top of everything. And that'll sort of hold my nav elements right there. So then from there, what I want to do, I guess I'll start by sort of determining what this padding needs to be. So I'll just sort of drag out maybe a box in Figma, and I'm noticing that this box is 99 pixels wide and that it's on this sort of frame that I designed at 1440. So if I go over to Wizardry, I know that my frame is going to be 1440 and then my padding was 99. So that gives me this total here in EMs. So what I can do is go ahead and set my container to that EM value that I want right there. And then for the top, I may just leave it a little bit smaller for now. We'll figure out what that top and bottom padding needs to be in just a bit. But then from there, what I might do is start by building out this nav. So we have this container already. I'm going to go ahead and give it a combo class of isNav as well. And that way I can use Flexbox to center and distribute. And then inside there, I'll drag in sort of a link block, which is right here. And we're going to go ahead and give this link block a class of nav logo. And then inside there, we'll need sort of like, usually I would put an image, but since I plan on changing the color later on with interaction, I'm going to need an embed. So then I'll just call this one nav SVG. And then from there, what I'm going to need to do is actually go into my files. And I'm going to need to open up this logo, which I created main logo, and I just need to copy all the code for that logo right here. Awesome. And then I'll just paste that inside the embed, and we're going to go ahead and set our width to 100% and our height to 100%, and we're going to set our fill to a variable in Webflow called current, and then capital C, and then color. Current color, just like that. Actually, that needed to go right here, so that's where we'll need to put it, current color, and I can leave this fill set to none right there. And then let's save that. Okay, awesome. So it's blue because it's inheriting from my links, which are all blue. One thing that I may want to do right from the start, so I'm not constantly having to change that link color, is just grab a text link, go over to the all link tags, and change that color to black. Even though it says it's black, it's not really black until we see this blue tag right here. And then that kind of fixes that right there. So then this logo block, this link block, can go ahead and give it a width. So if I click on this icon, I'm noticing it's 46 pixels wide. All I had to do is come over here, type in 46, and that should give me the width I need for this. I can just paste in right there. So then what do we want to do next? I guess we'll just keep building out sort of these are text links. We can go ahead and drag in maybe a container for our menu. Let's just drag that in. It's going to go after the nav, and we'll just call this, just give it a class. I might need a refresh. Webflow froze up on me for a second. Let's see. Awesome, Nick. Glad this is helpful so far. It's a class of nav, let's say menu. And then we'll, let's say available space. So it's gonna go all the way up into our logo right there. And then from there, I want to basically have a container for these nav links that go right in the middle here. So I'll go ahead and drag in a div, and we'll say nav, I guess we'll just call these nav links. And then we'll also need a container for our nav buttons, which are off to the right. So we'll just give this one a class of nav buttons. And then we'll basically assign Flexbox to center and distribute. Now the links are over here, the buttons are over here. I really want the links to be somewhere in here in the middle. So I'm just going to create a div, and I'll just call this nav spacer, and basically just give it a width of 0 pixels. That way this div is right there, but this Flexbox is forcing this one to just be in the center. And then from there, what can we do? Let's go ahead and drag in some text links. Or actually, what I like to do is put them inside a link block, so that way this entire space around the text link is clickable, so there'll just be a lot of padding around it. So what I'll do is drag in a link block, and I'll call this one nav link singular, and then we'll drag in a little bit of just like maybe a text block inside this nav link. And we'll just call this nav link text. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and copy this text. It looks like it's the semi-bold weight right there. So we can go ahead and set that to, we'll do it on the parent. So we want to try and set as much of this on the parent as possible. So this will be set to semi-bold. And then font size, it's 15 pixels. So I can just use my Wizardry converter here. So that's 1.04. I'll set that one on this text link right here, right there. Perfect. And that kind of increases, oops, did not mean to increase the font size there. Let's go ahead and duplicate these, and let's just make all our links real quick. So I'll duplicate those, and let's go ahead and change all the text out, and I'll get the padding in just a second to see what that distance needs to be. Let's see, contact us is the next one. Awesome, and we'll change this here. And let's see, so drag out sort of this square here. This is 34 pixels. We want to divide that by 2 to get half of that. So we got 17 pixels. So if we type in 17 pixels here, there we go. And then we can make that the padding on either side here and here. Perfect. And then I'll add a little bit of padding on the top and bottom. I'll probably make it a bit larger so there's just more clickable space. Let's see, right there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and then from there, what do we need to do next? Okay, so this is basically, these are the same style. So what I can do and paste it inside the nav button and change this one to say log in, like we had it. And then we need a button right here. And I'm trying to see, I'll probably make this a unique class just because so much is different about it. Font size went back to 1 EM. Was that on? No, it's 1.4. That may be the parent here. The reason why I didn't set font size right here is because if I would have set it to 1.04 here, it would have also increased the width of these paddings, or the size of these paddings. So that's why I set the font size on the inner text, not on the whole block. But let's see, unless there's something else I'm missing, but I think that's the only other thing that's 1 EM. Let's see. So then, yeah, I was basically saying I'll make this a unique class because it's so different from these buttons. I'll just make it its own thing. We'll just drag in a button right here. It can't be a link inside of a link. Let me see. Sometimes it's hard to drag these to the right spot. Okay. And then we'll just give this a class of nav button. Let's see, and we'll set the color to black. Why not? And then we'll set the, we'll leave the, this is inheriting from all links, so I'll just make sure to set that to white real quick. And then let's see, this needs to be the same font size. So this is where it's going to get a little tricky. We're going to run into that issue because these need to be the same font size as this, which is 1.04 EM. So that's automatically increased the paddings on these buttons. So whatever we figure out here won't be exact. So like if we make this 20, perfect, and just hit enter, so we can copy that for border radius. And then let's say our paddings. Actually, Figma has this really nice auto layout. I could try to get the exact paddings, which are mixed right now. So we got 20, 20, and 38, and 38. So 20, we already have that number right here. We'll plug that in for the top. Yep. And then from there, we'll do the 38s. Perfect. And plug that in here and here. And then I may just add a little bit of margin off of the button right here. And then I may just back it down again, since it's not exact, it's a little increased because of the button font size. Just back it down, and that gets us kind of close. So let's go ahead and see. From there, I may actually hack this a little bit by giving this spacer a little bit of a width. That way I can visually center align these links inside here. I'll just do that for now. And then let me also, this has a class of isNav. Let's figure out how much space we need off the top of the whole nav. We need, oops, I accidentally created a square inside by mistake. So we need about 37 pixels off the top. So I'll just type that in, 37, get that right there, and then we'll plug that in right here. Okay, so that's our nav, and from there, I guess what we want to do is start on this hero section. So we already have this hero kind of container right here. Let's see. That whole thing's the nav. This is the, and let me make sure my nav is set to fixed. It is towards the top. This is 0 height, global 0 height, and then this section is for some reason not starting at the top. Oh, it is. It's just not that high. Let's see, container. So what I'm going to do is add a combo class of isHero to this one and give it a minimum height of 100 VH just to get it basically full height right there. And then from there, I'll drag in a div that's going to hold all of my text. And let's do on isHero, let's do flexbox, vertical, center, and anchor it to the bottom like this. Then we'll do hero contain, so we'll contain all our text and stuff. Yeah, so we would basically just want a good bit of space off the top, and then all these elements will be anchored to the bottom here. This is my main paragraph style, so I guess what I could do is set that right now. So that was 15 EM or 15 pixels, and we convert that to EM. So I'll go ahead and set that font size right now from here. And then let's see what our line height is inside of Figma. Our line height is 1.4. So we can adjust that here. And then what else do we have? I guess that's fine for that part. We'll go ahead and just copy this text. And then let's go ahead and paste that in here. We'll drag it in. And then we need to wrap it next to a line. So I'll call this hero sub text. Why not? And then we'll just stick that in there. Drag in another div. We'll call this hero subtext line. And that'll go right here. Now, because this line is so small, I think it's only 1 pixel wide. If I set that using EMs, that's going to get super tiny on some screen sizes. So this I would kind of equivalent to the border width. So because it's so small, I'm just going to set the height using pixels to make sure it doesn't ever get too small. But I can leave that width scaling like we want. So that width is 25 pixels. So that will be scaling with EMs. Did I just set that on the paragraph? I did, my bad. Let's see. So height 1 pixel, width we'll leave using EMs, and we'll give it sort of a background color of black. And then let's drag this up here and do flex, center and left. Okay, so now we have that there. Thanks so much, Brian. Let's see. Let's set a width here. So this is 5 pixels. I'm going to do it visually at 6 pixels. That's how much of a margin we need. So I'll just make this 6. And then basically set that as a margin to this line here. Okay. All right, so we have that little line set up. Our next step is to set up the main heading, which is 76.66 here. 76.66. All right, this is our H1 heading size. Let me just drag that in and basically set that font size right here using EMs. Perfect. All right, and then we're gonna drag that underneath the subtext, and we're basically going to copy all that text and paste it in. And then from there, we need more paragraph text. So we'll just copy this one, paste it there, and then just change out the text. And then I think this next part, oops, pulled that up by mistake. All right, so this next little line, Are we using it anywhere else? We are not. Okay. I might just make this, then I'll just build it like a link block. Just in case I ever want a generic, we'll call this text. And then we'll drag in some paragraph text inside. And which means the text link itself needs to be set to, I think it was medium. Let me see the weight. What was the weight on this? Semi-bold. All right, so we'll set that to semi-bold. And actually, I'm going to use, instead of paragraph, I'll use text block because my paragraph has that font size set. No, I'd want this to be 15. Okay, I'll leave it paragraph. Let's see. Learn more. Okay, that's all it needs to say. Learn more. Okay, and then we want to give this a bottom border. Check space between items by selecting an item and holding command over the other item. Okay, I didn't know that. That's awesome to know. Let me see. So is that what it's telling me? I'm holding command unless I'm doing something wrong. Oh, maybe because it's grouped. Holding command. Huh. I might have to troubleshoot that a little bit. It's not telling me the space there. Let's see, 1.5 pixels, and then the line will just be the width. So this could be a bottom border, honestly, on the text link of 1.5 pixels. And then we could even add a little bit of padding inside to just push it off the bottom, just like so. Actually, I may make that line scalable. 1.5. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make it set to EMs just because the line is slightly thicker. And then from there, what else? I guess I can give this some top margin. I really wish this command option would work for me, because that sounds cool. Let's see. 26 pixels, why not? We'll use that for top margin on this link block here. Golly, I did something wrong. What did I do? I did 126. Okay. All right, there we go. And then option. Okay, let's try it. Option and hold. Yes, that works perfect. Okay, thank you so much. That's great to know. So that's 20. Gosh, this is a lifesaver. I just recently started using Figma and love it so far because it's amazing. Okay, so we got 10 and 20 basically. 10, and because this is, first thing I'm going to do actually is adjust the line height and tighten it up a bit to get this closer to actual size. And then second thing is actually just wrap this heading in a div so that way my paddings are true to the EM system. So what I will do is hero heading, and then I can use that top EM margin that I just copied as a padding. And then we want to do the same for the bottom. Golly, I already forgot what that was, 20. Okay. So we want to do that here. And we want to paste that there. Awesome. Okay, so that should ideally be pretty much to scale. And then from there, what I can do is start working on the cards. I also had to think about like when the height of this collapses some, how far do I want this to get? So in this hero, I'm probably going to add a good bit of padding right here. That way, if this heading or this hero section ever did collapse too far, it would just make this scrollable. It wouldn't fall underneath the nav right there. So that much padding is probably fine. And then what else? So we can start on the cards, I guess. I'll build them all out because this is going to be the second hover states. So I'll just build out their regular state like this first. and then we'll go from there. So we'll go ahead and drag in a div block, and then this will hold all our cards. So we'll just call it cards container, and then we'll drag in another div block that will be our individual cards, and then their width, I believe, was set to 393 pixels. So we'll do 393. Is that many EMs? Perfect. I'll just give them a height for now. We'll adjust it later. What did I do here? 30 EM. Back it down. Okay. And all right, that's the basic foundation of our card. Then from there, we're going to have a couple things. First, we'll have this top bar. So I'll build that piece out first. Did this say cards? I meant, all right, we'll name it cards. Card, it's the individual card inside the container. And then we'll just say, have a div that's cards top. And inside there, we want to have, this can be my regular paragraph. So I'll just drag in a paragraph. And then I believe the background color on this was black opacity. So we can go ahead and do that on this top one. Let's see, so it would be black here, be 60% opacity, and then everything inside it needs to be white. And then from there, I can copy the price, and I can copy, or I guess I'll duplicate this and make another one for the date. Let's see. And then let's do flex, center, and distribute, just like that. And then padding, I guess what I should have, a auto layout. That's not gonna work. It would have to be grouped together, just so I can see how much padding we have. It's mixed. We got 25 and 25 on the sides. And then I'm actually not gonna set top padding, and I'll show why in just a second. So for the sides, we got 25. Cool. That will be inside this top one, right there, and right here. And then we'll be using this border radius number a lot, of 20 on a lot of different things. So I'll just go ahead and save that now and name it, just go ahead and name it radius, and just keep that in here because we'll be using it a lot. All right, so I'll add that as the radius to the top one here. And then I'll go ahead and set a height on this top container for now, like so. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of padding, maybe 2 EM towards the bottom, and I'll show you why. We're gonna basically have to offset this. In just a second, I'll do that. All right, so now we'll do the bottom part of the card. So we'll do cards, bottom. All right. And then this is actually, is that not white? I thought it was white, but I guess it's just close to it. All right, we'll save that color here. And then we'll also give it a bit of border radius, which we have saved here. And then for now, I'll just throw in a bit of padding inside it. So here we have 2 EM padding. I'll do -2 EM margin, and that's basically going to get these card pieces to overlap while also keeping this text in here centered, because part of the interaction is going to be to increase and decrease the height of this part of the card. So keeping those totals in the centered no matter what, while also keeping that overlap, is going to be important. Okay, so I guess I can just measure how high this is supposed to be, 91 pixels when it's collapsed. I don't want to override my radius, so just call this 91. I'll just keep using the top field. but it'll be 91 plus 2 EM. So whatever this is in EMs plus 2. All right, and that should be hopefully the right size. And then from there, I'll just go ahead and add in sort of a block for the logo. And we'll just call this cards logo. All right, and let's go ahead and set, this is 73, so can do that here, 73. And we'll use that for width and height. And then we'll give it a background color of black. We'll set the radius to 50%, and that should be good. Then from there, we just need to add the image. So I'll just drag that in here and do cards, logo, image. And then I'll set that to a width of 100% of its parent. And that should be fine. So we have those pieces, and what do we have next? We have the total. Oh, I guess I should have started it, because this is the collapse state, so I guess I should start it on this state, which is 72 for the height. 72. That's 5 EM plus 2 EM. So we'll just do 7 right here. Okay, it's a little bit better. And then this is a larger size. Yes, it is. It is an I guess we can call this sort of like a P2 size is what it is. It's like slightly larger. So I'll just do is P2 for sort of a class name, and this is 18 pixels. And we can set that EM size here. Oops, did not mean to do that for the height. Okay, and then we also need this to be, I'm thinking it's always bold. Do I ever have an instance of this that's not, and then it's 18? I don't think so. Okay, so this is like a unique instance. So we'll just go ahead and make it that semi-bold. And I guess I can just rename this cards. We'll just call it company for the company name. Everything inside this card's bottom needs to be text align centered. And then what else do we have? I can change this name, I guess, to Apple Store for now. Yeah, let's just do that. Perfect. And let's also do on the whole logo, we'll do margin auto to sort of center it up. We won't actually have any top padding here. And then since this is 5, we'll divide that by 2 and EMs for negative margin. Did I not put negative? I did not. Let's just do 2.5 EM negative margin. And it's not going to work because let's start by making this relative. I don't want to do positioning because I want this to respect like the content inside it. So what I can try and do is relative. Actually, you know what? Let's just absolute top, and then the height of this was, let's just make it an even number. We'll say 5, and then that way I can make 2.5 EMs. So that way it's respecting that space of the link block or of the logo. Okay, so we have that. Next thing we need is this paragraph text. This is actually my P2 style because it's really small. It's like 13 pixels. And because it's so small, I actually might not use EMs on this because it's really tiny. So I might make this P2 and then just set it to 13 pixels. So it's really tiny and it'll stay that small. And then from here, just paste in some of this description. Eating out budget, we'll change that to shopping budget. Why not? And then price, we'll just make it like, I don't know, $1,000 or close to $2,000. Why not? All right, so what else do we have? We have the button, and this is a class that I'll reuse down here too. So what I'm gonna need to do is basically drag in a link block, and we'll call this button, and it has a radius of what? Has a radius of 10. So I'll go ahead and make that 10. And then we'll set the radius right here. And then we'll set a background color. So our brand background color, we'll leave the color black inside. And actually I'm going to hard set this in case I do decide to change like the link colors through an interaction. I want to make sure this one always stays dark. And then we'll use flex, center and center, just like so. And then what do we have inside? Let's see, we have, this is just 15, so this is our regular paragraph text styled, but with probably a combo class. Or actually I can do that from the parent, so I don't even have to add a combo class. Yep, of semi-bold. Okay, perfect. And then we'll just change that to say transaction details. And then we'll also add the arrow. So that would be here. And we'll just call this one button arrow. And then we need to set a width on it. So the width of this arrow is pretty much 30 pixels. So we'll just make this 30 pixels. Okay. And set the width using EMs, just like that. And then we need the margin. So I'm gonna try this new trick, 14 pixels. I love that, that's so awesome. 14, okay, there we go. That'll be our margin. Right there, okay. Paddings, padding. I think I actually already have, this instance is perfect, an auto layout version. So we got 20, 20, 38, and 38. So we'll do that. We already have 20 here that we can use. 139. Let's see. 139. Let's do that. 139 EM. And then what do we have? That was for top and bottom, I think. So let's do that here. Okay, and then the last word, the use word 38. Okay, so that should be here. All right, that gives us the foundation of the button. We're going to, I think, hide this button. You say that this could give you 19. Okay, let's do that here. 19. Need to get the paddings in place on all these sides. 19. Okay, and then I guess what we can do is, this is 29. We'll set that using padding. 29, so that's 2.1 plus 2.5. All right, that's how much space we need there. For now, we'll just add this margin to the button here. So that would be what, 29 again. So we already have that here. Just add that as top margin. Let's see. So we can do, I'll make this a combo class of isCard. It's lagging a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, it says we're doing good on, but I'll keep watching the stream. It says connection stable. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it though. Let's see, how 11 here. Okay, so that would be, this isn't really going to be the same. Let's just add it to margin for now. Off this, okay. And let's also add a max width on this one is card, and we'll give it a max width using percent, why not? And margin auto. Okay, just something like that. I think that's the foundation of the card. We also need sort of a background blur, which is 30 pixels, which is equivalent to 2.08 EM. So I'll just search for blur and just copy this code. And that's going to be applied to here, card's top. So we already have our CSS here that we can paste in. Let's just do that. Cards top, and 2 EM is fine for those. That'll add that background blur that we want to the top of the card. And then I actually can remove this height from the card, don't need it anymore, and I can duplicate to make a couple more cards, and then we can use flex to center and distribute. And then I'll just change this out real quick with each of these logos. Okay. All right. So that is the foundation of the cards. Let me see, how far is this, the top of this card from this whole box? 45 pixels. So we can type that in there, and then we'll just set that as padding inside the whole cards container. Okay, and that is looking pretty good. All right, so I think the next thing we need to do is basically work on these gradients. And then the gradients are all different shapes. So like if I hide this blur for a second, you'll see it's just this oval that I created that I blurred out. And then same with this oval here, it's blurred out. I have another oval here that's a darker color. Let me just unhide all these for a second. And then this one's that one, but just with lower opacity. So we need to basically create all these different ovals and position them around the container, and then that'll do that. So I think what I'm going to do is make the this around the container, not the section. That way when this page gets really wide and the container stays in the middle, the shapes kind of stay in the middle with this heading and with these cards. They don't just end up somewhere far over the other side of the screen. Yeah, I am seeing an error with the stream. So if it kicks me off in just a second, I'll just hop back on. But I think maybe it's my internet. I'm sorry about this, guys. It looks like I am getting a little bit of stream lag here. So let me go ahead and position these around inside the card. First thing I'm going to need to do is drag this outside of this hero container. This hero container is going to need a z-index of like maybe 20, so that way these shapes will be underneath, and the cards container can also have a z-index of like 21, so that's on top of that. And then each of these shapes can be absolutely positioned to the bottom of the container. We'll give them a z-index of 1 for now, and then we also want to basically set a size on these. All right, so I'll start with the shape that's all the way at the bottom, which is this color here. We want to grab the width of it first, which is 756 pixels, 156. And just copy that, and we'll set that for the width of the shape. And then we want to set the height of the shape next, which is 424 pixels. We'll do 424. Okay, and we'll set the height here. And then we want to round it off, so we'll do a radius of 50% to give us an oval shape. Set that color here. And then this one is actually going to be set at a lower opacity, which the opacity is 20%. So we'll go ahead and do that here. And then the rotation of it needs to be, what is it, rotate at negative 37 degrees. So we'll do a transform, rotate, negative 37 degrees. And that doesn't look right. Like, that looks like it's going the wrong way. Maybe we'll try a positive 37. Okay, so it must be opposite in here for whatever reason. So we have that shape, and the next thing I'll do is give it a little bit of negative margin. Right here. And let's see, that'll push it down a little bit. And then maybe a little bit of positive margin to push it over some. And let's see, is it falling in the right place? It needs to fall basically right there, and this can fall right there. Let's see, about right. So we'll just call this hero shapes, and this will be the first shape. So we'll go ahead and duplicate to make the next one, and we'll just say is 2 for the second shape. And then this one is let's see, 757 by 428. It's about the same size, so I think I'll leave that. And then the rotation is 24 this time though, so we can say 24. And then we can push it maybe a little further up. And then the background color on this one is actually going to be a solid color. Maybe this isn't, yeah, this is rotation. I don't know why those values aren't looking exactly right. Let's see. Let's drag it up a little bit more, so it's just not going to be peeking out as far. And then we'll push it over a little bit more, like so. That way it ends right around there. That looks about right. Another thing we need to do is set the blur on these. So like the blur on this one was set to 65 pixels. So if we do 65 pixels worth of blur, then what we can do is grab this other shape here and just add a blur, which is under filters, blur, and then we'll set that using EMs. And that blurred that one, and then now we need to blur this one, which was how much? 173 pixels. 173. Okay, and that will be what we use for this shape here, right there. Okay. And then what else? So we have this one next. I'll go ahead and duplicate the shape, and then we'll duplicate the class. We'll make this is 3. We'll change its position a bit, like so. And then let's change its color, which I believe the color was sort of this greenish. I'm gonna hide the blur for a second so we can actually see what we're working with. This one needs to be 651 by 300. So let's do that. 651 for the width, which goes right here, by 300. And for the height, goes right there. And then the rotation is set to negative 62. So we'll do 62. And then the position of it looks like it falls, like it's almost touching this card here, and it comes a little bit into the name part. So let's bring that up. Come over to the name. It's almost touching this one there. Okay. I think that's about the right position. And then the blur on that is set to 173 as well. So we'll do 173. All right, and I'll just add that in here. All right, so it looks like I am having a little bit of trouble with the stream. Thank you guys for letting me know. I'm gonna back out of it for now and then see once I get my see if I can get a better connection. This is part 1 of like a part. So this will be like a continued video that I'll do more of and basically build on this concept. So I hope you've enjoyed sort of that trouble, guys, but thanks for hanging